What's going on, everybody's way with Swamp Donkey Archery? Well, you did it. You dry fired your bow. Now what? Y'all stick with me, I'm gonna tell you what to do. Alright, well, hopefully you didn't just dry fire your bow, you're just watching this video out of curiosity. But if you just searched in YouTube for what do I do when I dry fire my bow, maybe I'll help you out some. So, for anybody that might not know what a dry fire is, that is when you draw a bow back without an arrow or anything on it, and whether it's intentional or unintentional, releasing a string without a load on it. Bows don't like having the string let go without a load on it, without an arrow. So it's not a good situation. So I just want to kind of tell you what a dry fire is, kind of what some of the stuff that can happen. So I will start by saying, first of all, I'm going to start by, if you can please like this video and sub to my channel if you hadn't already done it. Now, so the way I look at it, there's two people in archery when it comes to dry fires. There's the archers that have dry fired their bow, and there's the archers that have not dry fired their bow yet. So it's going to happen inevitably. But so there are, from what I've seen here in the shop, I would rate dry fires and kind of you know, mild to horrible. So I've seen lower poundage bows, like kids' bows and stuff less than, say, 50, 45 pounds, get dry fired and really not hurt them. I've seen several, you know, really high quality bows get dry fired and really not have any problems at all. Now, I would still suggest having them checked out. I've seen what I would consider a mild dry fire, which is where, say, like your string's going to derail, maybe cables derail, possibly pop the string, might bend cams, bend your axles, and yeah, I would consider that a mild dry fire. So that's gonna it's going to cause you new strings, new cams, new axles, stuff like that. And then we have the catastrophic, that I would call it. That's where your bow rapidly disassembles. That's not a good situation. So, let's see. How do I want to start this? I guess we're going to say about, you know, what's the steps after you dry fire your bow. Number one, once you dry fire, or if anybody's standing around you when it dry fires, just know that stuff can come off of your bow. So number one step, bow dry fires, check yourself, check everybody around you, make sure everybody's safe. Okay, that's number one. You don't want, you know, I've seen speed knocks come off these things and, you know, they'll poke a hole in somebody. So number one, make sure everybody's okay. Number two, register that, yep, that actually happened. Quit standing there in disbelief. Yep, it happened. You did it. Somebody else did it. Wasn't paying attention. You standing there talking, visiting with your buddies. Wasn't paying attention. Just drew back shot and didn't have an arrow on. Stuff happens. I mean, so accept that it happened and then get over it. Okay. The bow that I got in my shop, it's a good friend of mine's son's one. I'm not even going to get into too much because I don't want, if he watches this video, I don't want it to hurt his feelings any. But it really hurt this kid's feelings when it done it because he knew better. He was standing there talking, visiting, having a good time, wasn't paying attention, drew back and let it go, didn't have air on it. Everybody done it. That's what I told him. I said, hey, I've done it. Everybody has, or most everybody. So just acknowledge that it happened. And then final step is, hey, let's do something about it, okay? Definitely, I would highly recommend, no matter what level it is, if you drop back, dry fire, it pops, and you look at it, it's like, huh, don't look bad. String still on it, everything's okay. I would definitely still recommend taking it to your local pro shop or local professional to get them look at it, inspect it, and make sure everything's okay. But I'll let you know what I do when one comes in here, like the one that I got in here today. I've had several come in here that, like I said, nothing was wrong with it. If you see it, if it gets dry fired and it looks like nothing's wrong with it at all, I would highly recommend at least replacing strings and cables, because that places a lot of undue stress and shock on the strings. It's going to stretch them a good bit, or a possibility of it stretching a good bit. If there's any weak fibers in it, that undue stress is going to pop those fibers, and it's going to cause you problems down the line. So I would definitely recommend at least minimum new strings and cables if you don't see anything wrong with it. But what I'll do with one like what I got in today is a lower poundage bow. It went pop. And I'll show you, bent the cam. It derailed the primary string. The cable stayed on. No string popped or whatever. My most common, what I would say, mild dry fires, you're going to see a cam messed up. It's going to be derailed. A lot of times I'll see the string pop here at the peep site. That's usually the weakest place because it's been split. It's split right there. It usually pop into at the peep site, or it might pop at a string loop or something like that. If it still holds together, it's fine. I would still highly recommend getting new strings and cables on it. So something like this one come in, we're definitely getting new strings and cables. I just got the new cams in today. I am going to take a cotton swab, and I'm going to run over these limbs back and forth. And what I do that for, if there's a tiny splinter in these limbs, it'll snag that cotton swab, and you'll see if you've got a little splinter in it. Kind of keep an eye on it. So that's what I'm gonna do with this. New cams, new axles, new strings, and this bow will be back 100%. Okay. Like I said, just number one, acknowledge that it happened. Make sure everybody's safe, and then kind of proceed with your plan of what you're gonna do type deal. If you do have your own equipment where you work on your own bow, go ahead, break it down. I would at least, if the cams didn't bend, I would at least check your axles, pull your axles out, and make sure they're okay. And if you're going to take this to a pro shop, this is coming from me and what I've seen here before. Don't walk in the door and say, I don't know what happened. I opened up my case and this is what it looked like. Don't lie to you. Don't lie to your guy, okay? Don't come in here lying to me. Don't walk into your next local pro shop and just outright tell Phil, I don't know what happened. This is just what it looked like. Tell him, hey, look, I had pardon my French, I had a dumbass moment, and we dry fired it, okay? So to be honest, it goes a lot better on my end too, just to know what happened. I've seen like the straight dry fires, like what I was talking about. I've also seen where like somebody's release may have malfunctioned. I had one time where a draw scale broke in his hand and didn't have an arrow on it, which wasn't no need. Had a hook on everything, was just doing it on a draw scale. The scale broke in his hand, so when the string went forward, it still actually had enough weight on it that it didn't really mess up. Y'all excuse these bugs in here. It didn't have enough, or it still had enough weight on it to where it wasn't like a true dry fire. I think it just derailed, and I'm going to say like parts of the scale come off and hit something, maybe put a booger on something. Seen that happen. I've seen you guys that shoot pin knocks. Talking to y'all now. If you hit your air in the back when you're shooting and you hit that, you hit that knock on the back, check it really, really good. Maybe go ahead and change it out, because I have partially dry fired two different bows that I had from shooting pin knocks. It had a little split in it, didn't see it, drew back, shot it. The knock split. Matter of fact, I got a little scar on my hand right here where the knock come off and stuck in my hand, and I had to pull the knock out. So that's something else for you to look for. That will cause what I call a partial dry fire. Think that like just derailed my string, but it didn't booger anything up. So anyhow, I just want to go over that. I'm fixing to get all my goodies out for this, build this young man some new strings, put it on it. Bow's going to be back good as new. I would say a mid-range dry fire down would be fixed really easily. But if you shoot and your limbs break, that's fixing to be expensive. You're probably better off just going ahead and getting you a new bow. So anyhow, hope that answered any questions you got. If you got any others I didn't answer in this video, be sure and post them in the comments down there. Look me up on my website, swampdonkeyarchery.com. It's got my contact info on there. And I guess other than that, as always, y'all have a good one. I'll catch you on the next one.